My ex-husband's stalking lawsuit, the truth behind my surgery. I was still wearing the hospital bracelet when the courier knocked on my apartment door. My hands shook as I signed for the envelope, not from fear, but from the medication still coursing through my system. 3 weeks post-op from spinal fusion surgery, and I could barely stand for more than 5 minutes without my legs going numb. The papers inside made even less sense than my medical bills. Notice of civil action, harassment, and stalking. My ex-husband, Marcus Chen, was suing me for $250,000, claiming I'd followed him across Ontario for 4 months, appearing outside his condo in Toronto, his office in Mississauga, his gym in Brampton, and even his parents' house in Markham. The dates were specific, February through May 2024. The exact months I'd spent either preparing for surgery or recovering from it in Toronto Western Hospital. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 41 years old, a former marketing director who'd built a successful career before my body betrayed me. The herniated discs in my lower spine had gotten progressively worse over 2 years, until last winter when I could no longer sit through a meeting without excruciating pain shooting down my left leg. Surgery had been my only option. Dr. Reeves, my neurosurgeon, had been clear about the recovery timeline. 8 weeks minimum before attempting to drive, 12 weeks before returning to any normal activities, 6 months before I'd feel remotely like myself again. The lawsuit arrived in week 11. I called my lawyer immediately, my fingers fumbling with the phone. Jennifer Tam had handled my divorce 2 years prior and knew exactly how vindictive Marcus could be. When our marriage ended, he'd tried to claim I'd hidden assets, tried to get full custody of our dog, tried everything he could to make me suffer. But this was different. This was criminal. "Sarah, breathe," Jennifer said after I'd read her the allegations. "Do you have documentation of your surgery and recovery?" "Everything. Hospital admission records, discharge papers, prescription logs, physiotherapy appointments." "Jennifer, I literally couldn't walk to my mailbox in February. How could I have been stalking anyone?" "That's exactly what we'll prove. But Sarah, there's something else in these filings. He has evidence. Photographs." My stomach dropped. "What kind of photographs?" "I'm looking at them now. Someone who looks like you. Same height, same build, same dark hair. In one photo, this woman is wearing that green North Face jacket you always wore." I still had that jacket. It was hanging in my closet, unworn since before my surgery because I couldn't lift my arms high enough to put it on. "Sarah, I swear to you." "I believe you, but we need to figure out who this is and why they're impersonating you. This isn't random, Sarah. Someone went to a lot of trouble to make you look guilty." After we hung up, I spent an hour going through my phone records, my emails, my credit card statements. In February, I'd been admitted to Toronto Western on the 8th for pre-op testing. Surgery on February 15th had taken 7 hours. Complications with bleeding had kept me in ICU for 4 days. I'd been transferred to the recovery ward on March 22nd and hadn't been discharged until March 22nd, a full 6 weeks after admission. During that time, my world had consisted of a hospital bed, a shared bathroom I could barely walk to, and a window overlooking University Avenue. My sister Rachel had visited 3 times a week. My mother had come from Ottawa twice. My best friend Jen had brought me contraband Tim Hortons coffee every Sunday. Beyond that, I'd been alone with my pain, my medication, and my fears about whether I'd ever feel normal again. The lawsuit listed 12 specific incidents. February 18th, outside Marcus's condo at 7:30 p.m., but I was in ICU, still on a ventilator. March 3rd, in the parking garage of his office building. I was in physiotherapy, learning to walk again with a walker. April 12th, sitting in a car outside his gym. I'd been at a follow-up appointment with Dr. Reeves, getting x-rays to check my fusion. Every single date had an alibi. Every single one. Jennifer filed our response within a week, including 300 pages of medical documentation, hospital admission records, nursing logs that tracked every medication I'd received, every time I'd gotten out of bed, every meal I'd eaten. We had security footage from the hospital showing me in the recovery ward during several of the alleged stalking incidents. Marcus's lawyer, a man named Derek Foster, called Jennifer 2 days later. I listened on speakerphone from my physiotherapist's office, where I was doing gentle stretches to rebuild my core strength. Ms. Tam, my client has a dozen witnesses who saw Miss Mitchell at these locations. Her presence was unmistakable. Mr. Foster, your client's ex-wife was in a hospital bed during these incidents. She was physically incapable of being anywhere near him. We have photographs, clear images, and we have more than that. We have her car's license plate captured on traffic cameras near my client's residence on 3 separate occasions. My blood ran cold. I hadn't driven since January. My car, a silver Honda Civic, had been sitting in my building's underground parking since before my surgery. I'd given my keys to Rachel so she could start it occasionally to keep the battery alive. "That's impossible," I said, my voice shaking. "Ms. Mitchell," Derek said, his voice was smooth, condescending. "We have photographic evidence. The plate number matches your registered vehicle. Perhaps you should check if someone borrowed it without your knowledge." After the call ended, I went straight to my parking garage, despite the pain that shot through my back with every step. My Honda was exactly where it should be, covered in dust, the driver's seat still adjusted to my height. I checked the odometer against my last oil change receipt. The mileage matched. Exactly. The car hadn't been driven. "Someone cloned your plates," Jennifer said, when I called her. "It's illegal, but not difficult. They put duplicates on a similar vehicle, and suddenly you're in 2 places at once." "But why? Why would someone do this?" "That's what we need to find out. Do you know if Marcus is seeing anyone new?" The question caught me off guard. Marcus and I were done 2 years ago. Our divorce was bitter, full of accusations and resentment, but I'd moved on, or tried to. The surgery had consumed my entire focus for the past year. "I have no idea about his personal life. We haven't spoken since the divorce was finalized." "I think we should find out. I'm going to recommend we hire an investigator. This is too coordinated to be random." Jennifer connected me with David Park, a private investigator who'd worked with her firm before. We met at a coffee shop near my apartment, though I could only sit for 15 minutes before the pain forced me to stand and pace. David was younger than I expected, maybe 35, with sharp eyes that seemed to catalog everything. I showed him all the documentation, the lawsuit, the photos, my hospital records, my car's odometer reading. He studied the photographs carefully, pulling out a magnifying glass to examine details I'd missed. "This is professional work," he said finally. "Look at the angles, the timing. Someone knew what they were doing. They wanted clear, usable evidence."
Evidence of something I didn't do. Evidence of something someone did while pretending to be you. Tell me about your ex-husband. Who's he close to? Who would do this for him? I thought back to our marriage, to the people in Marcus's life. His best friend Tom, who'd always made me uncomfortable with the way he looked at me. His sister Linda, who'd blamed me for the divorce. His business partner at the consulting firm, a woman named Vanessa whom Marcus had worked late with far too often. I don't know, I admitted. Marcus and I moved in different circles by the end. I focused on my career, he focused on his. We barely saw each other the last year we were married. What about after the divorce? Any contact at all? Just through lawyers about final paperwork. The last time I saw him in person was at the courthouse when the judge signed the divorce decree. He told me I'd ruined his life and he'd make sure I regretted it. David made notes. That's helpful. Threatening language, documented resentment. What about his current situation? Is he dating anyone? I don't know. I deleted him from all social media. I wanted a clean break. Let me do some digging. In the meantime, I want you to think hard about anyone who might have access to your personal items. That green jacket in the photos, where do you keep it?
In my closet at home, but I've been home the whole time except for medical appointments. My building has security. You need a key fob to get into the elevator. What about your sister, your friend, anyone who's been helping you during recovery? The implications stung, but I understood why he was asking. Rachel has keys to my apartment. So does Jen. They've both been incredible through all this. There's no way either of them would... I'm not accusing anyone. I just need to understand who had opportunity. Over the next week, David worked his contacts while Jennifer prepared our defense. I focused on physiotherapy, trying to rebuild strength in muscles that had atrophied during months of inactivity. Every day was a small victory, walking to the end of my hallway without stopping, standing long enough to cook a simple meal, sitting through a movie without having to lie down. The pain was constant, but gradually becoming manageable. What wasn't manageable was the fear. Someone had gone to extraordinary lengths to frame me. Someone had watched Marcus, photographed a look-alike, cloned my license plate, timed everything perfectly to match the moments I couldn't defend myself. Who hates me that much? David called on a Thursday afternoon. I found something. Your ex-husband has been dating someone for about 6 months, a woman named Kelly Warren. And Sarah, you need to sit down for this. I'm lying down. My back can't handle sitting right now. Kelly Warren looks like she could be your twin. I sat up, despite the pain. What? Same height, same build, same dark hair cut the same way. I pulled her driver's license photo. If I didn't know better, I'd think you two were sisters. And here's the interesting part. She works for a private investigation firm. She has experience with surveillance, with photography, with evidence collection. My mind reeled. You think Marcus's girlfriend has been impersonating me? I think it's worth investigating. I've got a friend at Toronto Police Services who owes me a favor. I'm going to show them what we found, see if they can pull traffic camera footage from the dates in question, get a clear image of who was driving that car with your cloned plates. David, why would she do this? If she's dating Marcus, why frame me for stalking him? That's the part I'm still figuring out. Give me a few more days. Those few days felt like weeks. Jennifer filed a motion requesting all of Marcus's phone records and emails, arguing that if someone was orchestrating a false stalking campaign, the communication trail would prove it. Derek Foster fought the motion, but the judge sided with us. The evidence was too circumstantial, too convenient. Something didn't add up. The phone records arrived via courier on a Tuesday. Jennifer and I went through them together in her office, me lying on her couch because sitting at the conference table was impossible. What we found changed everything. Starting in January, Marcus had received daily texts from a number registered to Kelly Warren, but the content wasn't romantic messages between new lovers. It was surveillance reports. Target left for work at 8:15 a.m. Target at physiotherapy clinic, University Avenue. Sarah's sister visited apartment, stayed 2 hours. Kelly hadn't been dating Marcus, she'd been surveilling me. But the reports stopped on February 8th, the day I was admitted to the hospital. After that, the messages changed tone. We have a problem. She's hospitalized. Surgery confirmed. She'll be out of commission for months. Need to adjust timeline. Will proceed with alternative plan. And then, starting February 18th, the photographs began. Images sent directly to Marcus's phone of someone who looked like me outside his condo, near his office, following his movements. Jennifer and I stared at each other across her desk. He knew, I said quietly. Marcus knew I was in the hospital. He knew I couldn't be stalking him. This whole lawsuit is fabricated. It's more than that. Look at this. She pointed to an email buried in the files. It was from Marcus to Kelly, dated January 15th, 3 weeks before my surgery. Once she's out of the picture, I can move forward with the insurance claim. Her stalking behavior will prove she's unstable, dangerous. The policy will pay out and we'll split it 60-40 as agreed. You're sure you can make this convincing? Kelly's response was brief. I'm a professional. Trust me. Insurance claim, Jennifer said.
What insurance could he possibly claim based on you stalking him? It took me a moment to remember. During our marriage, we'd both taken out restraining order insurance, a relatively new type of coverage that paid out if you had to get a protective order against someone who was harassing you. It seemed silly at the time, but our financial advisor had recommended it. The policy paid $500,000 if you could prove sustained harassment requiring legal protection. Marcus wasn't just trying to destroy my reputation, he was trying to profit from it. Jennifer immediately called Derek Foster. "We need a meeting today, and you need to bring your client." We met at Jennifer's office at 6 p.m. Marcus showed up with Derek and someone I didn't recognize at first. Then I realized it was Kelly Warren, styled differently than her driver's license photo. She was wearing her hair down, had contacts instead of glasses, but the resemblance to me was undeniable. Marcus's face went pale when he saw me. I was thinner than before, still moving carefully, but very much present and very much prepared to fight. Jennifer laid out everything methodically. My hospital records proving I couldn't have been stalking anyone, the phone records showing the surveillance reports, the emails discussing the insurance fraud, the photographs that couldn't possibly be me because I'd been in a hospital bed during every single incident.
"Mr. Chen," Jennifer said, her voice ice cold, "you orchestrated an elaborate fraud scheme using a woman who resembles your ex-wife. You hired a private investigator to impersonate her to create false evidence of stalking, all so you could collect insurance money. This isn't a civil matter anymore. This is criminal fraud, identity theft, and perjury." Marcus started to speak, but Derek cut him off. "We'd like to request a recess to consult with our client." "No recess," Jennifer said. "Toronto police are waiting outside. We've already filed a criminal complaint with copies of all this evidence. You can speak to them or you can speak to us, but this meeting ends with someone taking responsibility." Kelly stood up abruptly. "I want a lawyer. I'm not saying anything else." But Marcus collapsed into his chair, his head in his hands. "It wasn't supposed to go this far," he said quietly. "Kelly said it would be simple. A few photos, some documentation, filed a lawsuit, collect the insurance, and drop the case. You'd never even know what happened because you'd still be recovering." "You tried to frame me for a crime while I was recovering from major surgery?" I said, my voice shaking. "You tried to destroy my reputation, collect money from it, and you thought I'd just never find out?" "You ruined my life when you divorced me. Everyone blamed me, said I must have done something wrong. My clients started dropping me. My family took your side. I lost everything, and you just moved on like our marriage meant nothing. I divorced you because you were having an affair with your business partner," I said, "because you emptied our joint account to invest in a cryptocurrency scheme without telling me, because you made my life miserable and blamed me for your own failures. And when I finally left, you told me I'd regret it. Is this what you meant?" The police came in then. Detective Andrea Morrison took statements from everyone while her partner collected the evidence. Kelly tried to negotiate immunity in exchange for testimony, but the emails were clear enough. She'd been paid $50,000 up front, with another $100,000 promised after the insurance paid out. Marcus was arrested that night on charges of insurance fraud, identity theft, and filing a false police report. Kelly was arrested as an accessory. Both were released on bail, but the damage to Marcus's reputation was immediate. His consulting firm put him on unpaid leave pending the criminal investigation. The civil lawsuit was dismissed the following week. Jennifer filed a countersuit for defamation, emotional distress, and malicious prosecution. We'd probably never see any money from it, but it was on record. The truth was on record. I got a call from Marcus's sister Linda 2 weeks later. She was crying. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I believed him. When he told me you were stalking him, I believed him because I wanted to. I was angry at you for leaving, for breaking up our family. I never thought he'd make something like this up." "He's your brother, Linda. You wanted to believe him. I understand." No, you don't. Because of me, his parents believed him too. They were going to testify against you in court. They were going to tell a judge that you were dangerous, unstable, and all of it was lies. We talked for an hour. She told me things about Marcus I'd never known, patterns of manipulation and lies that went back to childhood. She'd seen glimpses of it during our marriage, but had dismissed them as marital problems. He needs help, she said finally, professional help, but first he needs to face consequences. The criminal trial was scheduled 8 months later. By then, I'd recovered enough from surgery to sit through long days in court. My back still hurt, probably always would, but I could function. I could work again, had started a consulting business from home. I could drive, could exercise, could live something resembling a normal life. Marcus pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for avoiding prison time. He got 3 years probation, 500 hours of community service, and had to pay restitution of $75,000 to cover my legal fees and medical expenses I'd incurred during the stress of the lawsuit. Kelly Warren lost her private investigator's license and pleaded guilty to identity theft. She got 18 months in prison, served 9 with good behavior. The insurance company that had issued our restraining order policies canceled both policies and flagged Marcus in their fraud database. He'd never be able to get similar coverage again. I saw him one last time at the final restitution hearing. He looked older, defeated. As he was leaving the courtroom, he stopped near where I was sitting. "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for all of it. For the marriage, for the divorce, for this. You deserved better." I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. He'd made his choices, and now he was living with the consequences. People ask me sometimes if I regret how everything happened, if I wish I'd handled the divorce differently, been less willing to walk away, tried harder to make the marriage work. The answer is no, because Marcus showed me who he really was, and I should have believed him sooner. But here's what I learned that I wish I'd understood years earlier. When someone tries to destroy you, documentation is your salvation. Evidence, records, timestamps, witnesses, these things matter more than emotions or assumptions. Marcus counted on me being helpless, isolated, unable to defend myself. He thought being bedridden from surgery meant I'd be powerless. What he didn't account for was that even from a hospital bed, I could still gather evidence, could still build a defense, could still find people who believed in the truth. I also learned that technology cuts both ways. Yes, someone can clone your license plates, hire a look-alike, create false evidence, but that same technology creates digital trails that don't lie. Cell phone towers, hospital security systems, credit card transactions, email timestamps, all of it leaves a record. In my case, those records saved me. I'm rebuilding my life at 41, still recovering, still processing what happened, but I'm here. I'm free. My name is clear. Marcus is facing his consequences, and I'm safe from his manipulation. The spinal fusion left me with permanent hardware in my back, titanium rods and screws that will be with me forever. But they also made me stronger than I was before, not just physically, but mentally. I survived major surgery, and I survived someone trying to destroy my reputation while I was at my most vulnerable. Truth has weight. It might take time for that weight to tip the scales in your favor, but if you hold on long enough, if you fight hard enough, if you refuse to accept lies, no matter how convincing they seem, eventually the truth wins. And that titanium in my spine, it's a permanent reminder that sometimes you have to be broken down completely before you can be rebuilt into something stronger, something that can withstand whatever comes next. I'm standing now, literally and figuratively, and I'm not going anywhere.